What do I mean by mindfulness? I simply mean pay attention. I'm not saying you have to go sit on a mountainside and om for 2 hours a day. I don't think that's necessarily helpful. I think being in life and learning how to be present when everything is going on around you is the real skill set. Hi there. Welcome to this episode of Intuition, Your Success Compass. Last week, if you're going in order, we talked about having an awareness, tapping into what your gift may be. You are the gift, by the way. I didn't say that in that episode. I should have said that. So following up on that, I want to talk about mindfulness. And before you roll your eyes and go, oh, Lord, Vicki, I can't take it. Please know that I was one of those people. One of those who thought if you say mindfulness one more time, or meditation, or journal, or any of those things one more time, I am going to roll on out of here. But as most things in life, what we resist persists, and what we argue about or with or towards, you know what I'm talking about, is often what we need the most. So I'm going to do this episode about mindfulness and intuition. You can decide if you listen now or you come back to it in another couple of years when you're like, dang, I could have been doing the mindfulness thing all along. Notice I said could have, not should have. We don't do guilt here in the land of Vicki Baird coaching. We just don't, because I really believe in timely, not finally. So I'm going to bring this message to you timely, not finally, about mindfulness. I know I've talked about it before, but it bears repeating because there is no intuition without mindfulness. There just isn't. There's psychic hits, there are knowings, there are downloads even, but there's no true intuition without mindfulness, because intuition is that receiving of information. It's very solid, it's very directed. It doesn't come with emotion or drama or anything like that. It's actually very pretty matter of fact, but it's our primary sense and the source of information, and comes from our right brain and our soul. And then the left brain is the processor, right? Like it can grab hold and take and move us forward with ideas, because straight up intuition by itself is not going to get anything done. It's not. If you take the premise of, the 80-20 rule when it comes to eating, well, you can apply it here. 20% insight, 80% action. I've said it over and over again that there is no magic wand. You have to move your arse. You have to do the work, and recognizing that that's the gift in and of itself to be able to do the work. Mindfulness is part of this. So what do I mean by mindfulness? I simply mean pay attention. I'm not saying you have to go sit on a mountainside and om for 2 hours a day. I don't think that's necessarily helpful. I think being in life and learning how to be present when everything is going on around you is the real skill set. Kudos to people who meditate for hours and hours on end. And yet, as humans, we are here to interact and to contribute and to learn how to do that on the fly, along with moments of conscious connection. It's a lot, I know. But if you can take the idea that, okay, the more I become connected to my mind, to my soul, to my knowing, my wisdom, my sage, my whatever higher self some people call it. I don't believe it's higher than us. I believe it's meant to be integrated, but I can understand where that comes from a frequency standpoint. So if you want to connect with that knowing part of you, you have to do the work of being present. It's like if you want to deadlift 135 pounds, guess where Vicki's stuck at the moment in her PR journey? If you want to deadlift 135, well, maybe you have to dial it down and you have to do 125. And then before that, you do 115. And before that, you do 75, right? So think of these as the exercise. Mindfulness is the exercise of connecting both hemispheres of your brain. They work independently. They are not one system. So you have to engage both of them for their best practices. So your left brain can get you to schedule that time to be quiet, but your right brain can help you be in action once you've created that quietness and that connection. Okay. Does that make any kind of sense? It's like, I want you to work with your whole package and to recognize that in essence, you're actually walking around with quite a few operating systems and you want them all to be able to communicate because you have your soul intuition, you have your right brain of creativity and empathy and action and color and expression and emotion and all of that. And you have your left brain, which is beautiful in its analytic capability and its ability to put concepts together. So it can take whatever you're downloading, whatever you're receiving intuitively and create the plan and then hand it back to the right brain to do the action. Did you know you were this complex? See, told you were amazing. So without mindfulness, without an awareness, and without a willingness to be present, you are never going to tap into your full potential of your intuition, your psychic ability, or energy. Will you be able to at times access realms and get some insight? Of course. Absolutely, of course. Probably when you're in the shower or going for a walk or when you're not paying attention to it because to me it feels like our intuitive self is like there's an opening, get in there. Because even though you're moving, there's some habit to it and not a lot of thinking, so it can slide on in there. What I'm suggesting is you start to make moments in your day that are that effective, but you stay present so you can celebrate it, so you can enjoy it. So you've likely heard me say this before if you've listened to any of the other episodes. I was never a big fan of journaling. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to take the time. I kind of poo-pooed the idea until I challenged myself to sit for 30 days. I said, just give yourself 30 days. You don't have to do 31. You don't have to do 2 months. Just do 30 days and let's see what will happen. And 4 years later, I am 80% consistent. There are usually 1 or 2 days a week where I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't feel like it. I don't feel a need to. And I'm not going to pressure myself because the hyperachiever in me wants to get 100% on that report card. But I will readily admit that that practice of being present with my thoughts, and sometimes they are inane thoughts about what the day is like, or I had a really brilliant one last week talking about the fact that I have a sinus infection. That's going to be riveting reading if I get hit by a bus and somebody finds my journal. But that mindfulness practice, that practice of putting my butt in that chair and allowing whatever comes through, proprioceptive writing, just let whatever comes through, has given me the practice and it has enhanced and built the muscles in the other parts of my day. So when I'm with a client, when I'm doing a session, the whole world can be crumbling around me and I am with that person. That's a form of mindfulness. I never got the runner's high or focus. Like running was always a big workout for me, like a real challenge to move my whole body. But that can be found in other forms of exercise as well. And this is no different. This is building your spiritual muscles. It's building your mental muscles. People will talk about a lot of anxiety and experiencing that. And besides your caffeine content, I would also want you to look at, are you present at all during the day? Do you focus on anything at all during the day? We are going to do a mindfulness practice in this episode. I'm going to walk you through a short little meditation. So if you're driving, please don't do the meditation while you're driving, but maybe save it for later because I want you to see that it can be short and sweet. It does not have to be a long, prolonged thing. With the mindfulness, with the willingness to connect with yourself, It's like a little I'm very visual, so I get a lot in my third eye. I get a lot of pictures. And when I was writing up the bullet points for this episode, I kept seeing, like, my brain being massaged, and that actually is what it feels like to come off a massage table. If you've ever done that and had a really good session and you're, like, a little loopy, there's a reason they have you sit on the side of that table for a few moments to get yourself back. That's what mindfulness is. Now, you can do this by staring at your favorite photo and just like really zoning in on somebody's face or a color or the scenery. You can do this by counting your fingers and toes. You can do this by wiggling your toes and try to find that middle toe. Go ahead, try it. I know you just thought about it. The middle toe, Vicky? Yes. This thing is it's one of those things that sounds like it should be easy. You have 5 toes, right? You know you have 5 toes. If you have 5 toes, maybe you don't, but if you do, look down and you can see 5 toes, right? You can feel your pinky toe, you can feel your big toe, you can kind of feel that second toe. The other 2, missing in action. So a mindfulness practice that can be kind of fun is to be like, can I make yoga toes, spread them out, and can I feel that second or third toe? I still can't do it, and I've been practicing this for a while, but it still keeps my attention enough because it's kind of absurd. It's a little ridiculous, but it makes me giggle enough that I don't get too in my head about it, right? Does that make sense? Sometimes we make these things too hard, especially in the Western culture. We take things and we just make them too difficult. It's about being fully present, maybe while you're eating your meal. I made you know what, gluten-free vegan macaroni and cheese last week. Contact me if you want the recipe. So good. And it was, lunchtime, I'm shoveling in. I'm like, hang on. I very much practice what I teach. So let's be present with this because it was even better the second and third day. I made quite a bit. The second and third day. And for those of you who eat gluten-free pasta, that doesn't always happen. So something in the chemistry of this recipe, and I've made it a couple times now, so I've kind of nailed it, has made for a very delightful experience. And like, be mindful about what you're eating, Vicki. Actually chew. Don't scroll your phone while you're having your lunch. Be absolutely in the present moment. And then while I was doing that and I was tuned into it and I was enjoying the color, nutritional yeast has a beautiful color, and I was enjoying the textures and the cat yelling at me because she always wants what I'm having for lunch. She got a little more canine than feline in her. I had an idea for business thing that I'm not going to announce yet because it's still in the idea formula. But I had been oh, this is going to be a bad pun, but come on, we have to use it. I'd been chewing on that for quite a while and just could not receive the information that felt right, that really clicked in. And because I have such a commitment that I'm not going to do anything I don't ask you to do, as I'm tapped in and as I'm enjoying this meal, it flies through. Yes, I took a note. When you develop your intuition, things will fly through, and because you're quieting the noise around you and you're tuning in to your own radio station, you must write it down. Put it in a note in your phone, that's fine. Write it down on a piece of paper, that's better because you get the kinetic action. Tell somebody you're with. I've done that. If we were on a hike and something came through, I'll say to Mike, oh, help me remember this later. Doesn't always work. But most of the time we can piece it back together to what it was that I observed. And can you hear the humor? I have been doing this intuitive thing long enough to know I'm not going to get everything, but I trust it will circle back around. It's the mindfulness and creating a peacefulness and a harmonious relationship with your non-physical and your physical self that will allow this information to come through on a regular basis. You want it on demand, you got to do some of this exercise, right? So when you're enhancing your awareness and you're presence and the intuition taps into when you tap into the intuition, there's more wisdom, there's more insight, but there's more fun as well. I have a delightful time. 98% of my life is delightful because I can see the absurdity of the human condition, but I'm also so wildly fascinated by it that it keeps me interested. But most of this is because I have quieted my critic brain so much that it allows all of this other stuff to come through. And that's truly why people hire me, are my intuitive insights, but also because I can help you quiet that voice that's in your head. I had a client say to me, tail end of last week, she's like, Vicki, my head got quiet and I got scared. And I started laughing I can completely understand that, because when my brain started getting quiet, because it used to be quite mean and it so just judgmental. My my critic in my head is one that is very sour. She's very squishy face and judgmental. That goes without saying, judgmental, but she's like that bad example of a judgmental teacher, right? So when she shows up, I know I've really backed off my mindfulness practices because it's been so long. So I'm laughing with this client and saying, I completely get that, because the first time my head went quiet, our father had Alzheimer's, right? So the first time it went quiet, I was like, uh-oh, I'm having a mirror neuron moment and I've cleared my brain out too because his is not firing. But it just turned out that it was starting, like all these practices are starting to catch on. And the reps I had been doing in my own life were starting to show up. So perhaps that deadlift will get past 135 one of these days too. So as you begin this daily mindful practice, and it ought to be daily, it can be you pull in your driveway at night, you take 10 seconds to just take a breath. And that's your mindfulness. I'm not asking you to string a bunch of time together. You need 10 seconds to shift a neural pathway in your brain. I would love for you to take 20 seconds, because then you can have 10 seconds of action, 10 seconds of, woohoo, I did that. Okay? So as you tune into your mindfulness and as you become more mindfully present, you'll begin to cultivate awareness and receptivity for other people. Does this mean you will spend more time with people? It does not. For all you people out there saying, Vicki, I don't want to people, I respect you. I completely respect you. But there's more of a desire to connect with others on your terms. And then as you're being mindful, you may as well get some magic mind, right? Because that's going to support these practices. It can be really challenging to develop these systems that support you if your neural pathways are not firing, if you don't have the nootropics on board, if you are not lowering your cortisol response to life. And you know I love my magic mind for this reason. I also love the taste of it. It's a little 2-ounce green shot, but the other day, I don't know if others have tried this, I actually mixed it with another drink I was having, which had a little bit of kombucha in it and a little bit of seltzer, and I was making my own mocktail. I don't drink. I never drank. I don't see a need to, don't have a reason to. Probably the father as the alcoholic has helped contribute to that, but I just never needed that. And as I was making it, I'm like, oh, I have a mocktail. I have elevated Magic Mind to a whole new level. But I take it, maybe that's why I was able to come up with it, because I take it so that my brain fires more efficiently and more accurately, and I don't have that brain fog anymore. So that's why I talk about it, and that's why I love it, and that's why I will always take it, because you heard me say before, I took a break and then I got foggy head, went back to it. Love it. So, wow, all kinds of recipes. We got gluten-free mac and cheese. We got a Magic Mind mocktail. So great, so great. So magicmind.com/VickiB20 will get you 20% off. If you go and you subscribe for the 3-month, you'll get 56% off. Put my code in there. Don't forget Vicki B 20 and you'll get 20% off. So your first 3 months subscription, you'll get the total 76% offer. Do the math, something like that. So head on over there, magicmind.com/Vicki B 20. And I want this for you. I want the clarity for you. Excuse me. So as we move forward into cultivating mindfulness for yourself, just remember that there will be no judgment. There will be not picking on yourself because you didn't do it today. There won't be a judgment because you got to bedtime and you didn't do it. There'll be 10 seconds where you say, you know what? I just realized that I didn't do it for myself today. I'm going to take 10 seconds, take a breath, and I am going to then high five myself before I go night. Okay. As we go through this exercise, again, I haven't timed it. I don't know how long it's going to take us, but probably 2-3 minutes, maybe. I would love for you to let go of any judgment that your brain might come up with. And if your head goes there, that's fine. It's been trying to keep you alive all these years. It's just going to survival mode. But if it does, just try to hear my voice again. Okay? Try to come back to my voice. It doesn't matter that you missed whatever I just said because you can rewind it. Isn't technology amazing? Or you can go all the way through it and you can decide to do it again. Okay? So let's be kind to yourself and just be in this moment and agree that you're worth taking this time. Okay? Let's do this. I am going to read it for those of you watching on video because I took the time to write it up. I may as well read it, right? So here we go. Could you take a couple breaths? Really deep ones. In through your nose, out through your mouth. One more. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Power of 3. Let's do one more. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You may do this in any position you find comfortable. Sometimes I stand for my meditations. It's whatever your body needs. So change the words up. If it's not in the position you're in, if you're lying down on your bed, good job. Just change it up to wherever your body is. Okay? So let's take a moment to ground ourselves in the present moment and connect with our body and intuition. I'd love for you to find a comfortable position, seated, lying down, standing up, whatever works with you. It does help to have your feet flat on the ground and your hands resting gently on your thighs, on your chair, on your mattress. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. If it doesn't, it's fine to soften your gaze and just look down towards the floor. We're going to begin by taking a deep breath in through your nose again, feeling your chest and belly expand. Hold for a moment at the top. Good. Then exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing any tension or stress. Take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, allow your shoulders to relax down away from your ears. We will not be wearing our shoulders as earrings. Now, bring your awareness to your body. Notice any sensations you're experiencing. Tingling, warmth, constriction, any areas of tension. Without judgment, simply observe and notice what you're feeling. Be mindful. Let's take another breath and shift your attention to your breath. Notice the rhythm as it flows in and out of your body. Really feel the sensations of your breath as it enters your nose, through your nostrils, fills your lungs, and then exits again. Can you feel the temperature difference there? As you continue to breathe, imagine a warm golden light glowing at the center of your chest. If the image does not come to you, that is fine. Feel it out. Know it. It all works here. With each inhale, feel this light growing brighter and warmer, expanding to fill your entire body with a sense of calm and clarity. This is your intuition that we are activating. Now, gently continue to breathe at your own pace and ask yourself a question or set an intention for guidance from your intuition. One of my favorite questions is, what do I need to know right now? Or what's the next step I can take? Let's take a few more breaths and allow your insights or sensations and knowings to arise naturally. And trust that your intuition will guide you in the right direction. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, return to the present moment, and bring with you a sense of groundedness and connection to your body and to your intuition. You can return to this anytime you would like, or create one of your own by guiding yourself through the same practice. Whenever you want to or need to connect to your inner wisdom, this is a good way to get in. We have to stop the chaos that's going on around us in order to connect with that information. And of course, on your own, take way more time before coming back to the room. In the interest of a podcast, we have to come back sooner. So take your time. Thank you so much for joining me in that and for endeavoring to have a moment of mindfulness and for trusting me to go along with for trusting me and going along with the practice. I really do appreciate it. I do. Guiding ourselves is a lot more than the practical mindset that we've been led to believe, where you set a course and you set some intentions and some goals and you go after them. Mindfulness is the key to not wasting time or energy or stress-inducing practices. When you're connected to yourself in a mindful way, other people's energy doesn't throw you off. Any idea that doesn't work out, you don't take personally. You recognize that there's a gift in there somewhere. It might be, like I've said in previous episodes, it might be wrapped in ugly paper, but there's a gift in there somewhere. So when you are in the practice of slowing down your breathing and your thinking and being very present, you also don't miss opportunities because you're like, whoa, that just came through while I was making dinner or having a conversation or, brushing my teeth, whatever seems to be more of a mundane practice. When you do these mindful practices, the information can come in through what we are just very practiced in doing. Driving, often a very meditative experience. Not always safe that it's a meditative experience. This will foster a deeper joy and happiness in you. And as someone who used to barrel through life on every level, I am humbled to say that it's the slowing down, the taking time, and the consideration where true joy and brilliance is. And there have been so many times that by calming my brain, I didn't have to think twice about what I was doing. And more so lately, as I practice more and more of quieting the critic or the judge or, the unsupportive side of my ego, and I'll talk more about that in a later episode, there's more surety in any of the decisions and any of the practices I make. One of the areas I've seen it show up the most is the the barn I'm associated with the horses, because they're so intuitive and they're so connected. And yesterday I went in with, I'm going to be so present in everything that I'm doing that I'm aware of what's going on with the horses, but I'm also very sure in how I'm handling myself in a safe way, but also in what I've learned to do, but also in a way that doesn't bring any nervousness, because I know they're picking up on that. And they also pick up on the fact that you don't know what you're doing, and they can be completely adorable little poops. And yesterday I was like, you want me to take this one out? Want me to take it out to the field? Want me to lead this one? Want me to do that one? I wasn't doing that before. And I know this enhanced mindfulness practice that I've put in has bolstered my confidence and my sense of self. And you want that if you're walking around those big grass puppies. So the surety that comes along with knowing, is this job for you? Is this person you are going out on a date with going to be your person? It just comes through so much quicker because it doesn't have to get through all the garbage and the anxiety and the self-doubt, right? Yes, it takes courage. Yes, it takes practice, but that's why I'm talking about this from a mindfulness place. If you can learn to embrace it, let your head drop the judgment about what you've heard about it in the new age or woo-woo world or anything like that, and see that, wow, there's always brilliance to everything, right? There is, if we're willing to accept it and look at it. So I'm encouraging you, if you really want to build that self-knowing and that intuition so it's on demand, so it's helping you in your career, it's helping you in relationships, it's helping you with your own connection to self, you need to do these practices. Okay. But make it fun. Focus on where it's taking you. Like, it's taking you to a calm place. It's taking you to a proactive place. It's helping you to, activate your life in a way you've not done before. And yes, it will have you connecting to emotions and feelings and maybe some memories that you didn't like before. But the other thing about building these muscles, these neural pathways up that are like muscles, is that also won't sting as much when you realize that it's okay. It's not who I am. Those are experiences I had. I have such an awareness about myself because I've spent this time with me, that those are no longer have a bearing on who I believed myself to be and lacking and all of that. Okay. So there's so many benefits. Your blood pressure goes down. That's another benefit. So how can you integrate this into your life? That's up to you. I could give you all kinds of pointers, and if you listen to previous podcasts, I have. But I would like you to listen to your own intuition, because I have found you to be brilliant people who have more of a knowing and idea of what your life is like and what works for you than I ever could. I don't want to give cookie cutter advice. I just want you to take the action that puts it into your life. So however that gets in there, brilliant. So thank you very much for sticking around, for listening, for watching, for liking, subscribing, sharing, helping other people to be calm, because that's also going to help. And, we kind of need that in every aspect of our lives. We've always needed it as humans, but even more so now when things get a little restless and stressful. Okay. So I encourage you to keep exploring the connection between mindfulness and your intuition in your life. And I will see you in the next episode when we talk a little bit more about quieting that big mouth that happens in your left brain and activating your right brain a little bit more. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of Intuition, Your Success Compass. I appreciate you being here. If you would like more information about developing your intuitive skills, removing those blocks, and creating the life that feels the most successful to you, then head on over to vickibaird.com. That's VICKIBAIRD.com. And check out the courses, the groups, and the Spaces app that will allow you to be part of our community and know about upcoming events and specials. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.